Welcome to Two Souls Podcast, a podcast to shift, impact, empower, and disrupt your consciousness, ultimately allowing you to thrive on this human journey. Now, here are your hosts, Amber Meganhauser and Angela Blaha. Hey, Amber, how's it going today?
Hey, I am fantastic. How about you?
I'm great. What's our topic that we're going to chat about today?
Today we are going to talk about belief systems. Carrying other people's belief systems that have been instilled in us since we were little kids, how can we get rid of them? And how do we decide, is that my parents' belief system? Is that my grandparents' belief system? Or is that my belief system? How do we understand if it's their belief or our own belief? And how can we change that belief?
Well, first of all beliefs are handed down. It's like the giant rummage sale of stuff. Because literally, we don't create our own belief systems. They just get handed down from generation to generation to generation, and they come in from society, from religions, from families, from experiences, from all events in life. And so we don't have original beliefs. With that being said, you have to start asking yourself, what is it that I really want to believe in? So let's say what's the belief that you've been
In
handed?
life, I I guess one thing for us too is like an example that comes to mind is like supper every night. Like we were always taught that every night you had to have supper together. You had to share your experiences for the day. We did everything together. And I've noticed, like, as I've grown with my kids, it's different. Like I do different things in my household than I did, you know, as a kid growing up. And the other thing too is working hard. Like we were always taught that the only way you succeed is if you have to work really, really, really hard. And I just don't believe that now. I'm like, no, everything in life is easy. I never work hard. Everything is easy.
Right. Right. So those are two belief systems that you have literally taken a look at and changed and said, yeah, okay, I don't really believe that we have to work hard. And I don't really like my household runs way differently in this, 2021 era versus, 1960s or 70s or 80s. Right. So yeah, you have to, that's the whole thing about belief systems is they need to be updated like on a regular basis. And I feel like more people start to sort of look at their belief systems now versus back in the day. But yeah, you have to just say, okay, well, this does not work in my life. Or maybe you take a choice, like the working hard kind of thing, and you just say, yeah, I don't want to have that belief because I don't have to work hard. Like abundance is absolutely everywhere here on this earth, on this planet. And it's just for me to say that I want it, like you have to believe in what you want.
Yeah,
That's the huge part.
absolutely.
Yeah. If something isn't working in your life, you have to ask yourself, well,
Yeah, I definitely.
yeah, you have to ask yourself, well, what is it that I really believe about this? Right? Like, if you don't want to work hard, like that whole
Yeah.
physical manual labor kind of mentality that was probably with our parents' generation, like those were the beliefs, those were the ways that life was, and they made belief systems out of them.
Yeah.
So belief systems come from experiences, right? So let's take the working hard. So in our parents' generation, like
Mm.
the physical manual labor was a thing, like that they had to physically work the body. In our today generation, we don't physically work
Yeah.
the body. We work more of our mental mind than we do our
Yeah.
body. So, but you don't have to believe that that's how you have to work. It's just how you experience life. Do you see the difference? Like, there's a whole big difference between things that you believe are truth and things that you believe are experiences. Like, it's so much lighter energy vibrationally to believe that this is the way I'm experiencing life versus I have to believe in this.
Yeah. Yeah. And the working too, we're kind of taught that you find an 8 to 5 job, and life's so not like that anymore. In today's society, there's so many MLMs and everything else that you don't have to work that 8 to 5, where some people just like can't even fathom that you work that type of company versus you don't work an 8 to 5. They just literally don't understand it because we're taught that you go to work from 8 to 5 and you come home and you cook supper and you go to bed and you do it all over again the next day.
Right.
And I don't believe that no more. My life is just like so different than that now. I mean, it used to be my belief system before I was aware that it was somebody else's and not my own. And now, I mean, I work, I don't want to say I work because work is a work is a, a word I don't like to use. Like to me, like work is hard. But when we do things we're passionate about, like I have three, actually four different things that like I have income coming in on. And it's like we're taught, go work your 8 to 5 and that's it. But now when you see like the bigger picture and you have, whether you have an actual job, or I have an actual job and I have two different MLMs, and I have some of a bunch of homemade products I made. And so I have multiple different platforms where I earn income now. And it's not just that I go to work from 8 to 5 and work hard while I'm there, and then I come home. It's just not that no more, where that is how I was raised to, go work your job and then come home, have supper, do your thing. But now it's just today's society is not like that. And understanding that belief that you just don't have to have that type of a job is huge. Because I thought that that was what I was supposed to do.
Right. Well, and those supposed to do's also become belief systems. So looking forward, I feel like we're
Yes.
moving more into belief systems that support your mission and purpose here as a human being versus the old belief systems that are just basically handed down. Now, if we come from traditional belief systems or hand me down belief systems, you have to start asking yourself, okay, well, does this support, if I believe in this, like if I believe that I am totally worthy of abundance or that I'm not worthy of abundance, either way, those will either fulfill your mission and purpose or they will stop your mission and purpose. Because you have to ask, like, those become how you create a reality here. Okay, so you still have to have something to believe
Hmm.
in, but what is it that you're believing, right? So, I mean, even if we took like our society today, do we believe everything that comes over the TV channels or the radio channels or the, streaming live channels? If it's really all about what your mind will accept as a reality, as a truth. That's what a belief system is. It's how does
Yeah.
the mind accept what is a reality? And you get to choose. That's the huge thing about belief systems is you get to choose what your mind accepts. Can you like there's so much power in that, and I feel
Yeah,
like
the TV.
we step away from the power that is our natural power, and we sort of just follow a given path. But that is super powerful when we can sit back and say, okay, what is it that I am willing to accept as a truth here? Then that can become a belief system versus just being handed down these old patterns.
Yeah, the TV makes a lot of sense. That's a very good example because, especially what is going on in the world today, because you have so many different levels on what people believe about programming from the TV and what is truth and what is actually not true, and what you believe, what you don't believe. And there's a very big extreme about what people believe today that is actually going on in society.
Yeah, and
One person is just like, go ahead.
well, so that comes from so beliefs come a lot through our experiences, right? And either we have cell memory that says you need to be afraid of this because that filters into what is really true for you, or you need to be very confident in this, and that also filters into what becomes truth for you. So truth is one thing that we seek constantly, right? Like, really, what's the truth here? But truth is all based in perception,
Yes.
individual perception. And and that comes down to what can the mind accept as a truth and what does it not accept as a truth. So we have to be um, we have to know ourselves so well that we know that if we're coming from I believe this because this is who I am versus I believe this because I have a lot of fear.
Yeah. I think a key word you used was your own truth. Like, what do you believe that is your own truth? That's our belief system. And just because I believe that it's true doesn't mean somebody else doesn't.
Right. Yeah. And we have to be accepting of that, right? Like that's where we get into problems
Yes.
is we don't have acceptance of
Yeah.
what truth is for people. And everyone has their own experience here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
My question is, whatever happened to transparency? Like we're talking about belief systems, but if you don't know, like if nothing is transparent and everything is being disguised or being manipulated or controlled in some way, somehow, which is really part of the experience here on earth is trying to discern like what really is true. Well, um, without transparency, you never really know what's true. So a year and a half ago, transparency was this big deal, right? And then the COVID hit, and transparency is out the window. Like there's nothing that's transparent now. And the only way that we can actually
Yeah.
ask ourselves what's really true is for transparency to exist.
I never thought about it like that. That's really, I like that because that is completely true.
Yeah. So now we're back at square zero on transparency because it's not even a topic of discussion any longer. And sometimes when we are moving
Yeah.
through these experiences in life, and there's no transparency, like you can't discern what is really real and what isn't. And I think that we've come from that over the eons, right? Like there was not much transparency before it became a trend, and now it's not a trend, and it's not being picked up as a trend again. So, or it's being covered up as a trend, maybe. So again, we're sitting here with belief systems saying, okay, what is it that I really believe in? Because I don't know what's true and what's not true. And without that kind of that level of
Yeah.
disclosure, you cannot discern what. So you have to like literally trust your own intuition that says, well, I'm going to believe in this right now, and I don't know about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. All the
So,
stuff we hear from others that just the COVID thing has just been an eye opener, I think, for so many different levels. And, other people projecting their belief systems and literally causing chaos, making people live in fear over all of this stuff that isn't really true or not.
yeah, that's the authoritarian era, right? Is authoritarian mentality says or believes in, I'm in control and you're not. I mean, it's definitely a competitive kind of experience. And when you have that kind of level of competition, there's always going to be chaos, always. And how do you create more chaos? Well, you just take away, discernment, and you take away transparency, and you take away, truth, and you just create more chaos. So the
Yeah.
authoritarian kind of lifestyle, which is where we're trying to move out of, is trying there. I mean, it's literally trying to hang on. And how do you hang on? Well, you create more chaos so that no one can actually make a belief system out of anything. It's a mastermind.
So how how can we change that belief system for some people? Just understanding that they should trust their own truth and not listen to the TV, not listen to other people's beliefs, and just say, no, you know what? This is what I believe, and I don't have to believe what you believe. Like how
Yeah.
can how can somebody that is caught up in all that um change their belief system to understand, like, and figure out what their truth is? Like, are they really believing what they're watching on TV, or how can they change it and say no, like, you know what, I don't believe that, I believe something else.
Well, that's the beauty of programming, right? Like that's where belief systems came from in the past was through programming and experience. And if you don't have an experience to go by and you're highly programmed, which is exactly what happens to humanity. I mean, that's what creates the atrocities to humanity or the crimes against humanity are the programmings. And so when we have extreme programmings but you don't have an experience to make an accurate decision about something, then you're going to believe the programming unless you're intuitively like connected to your highest self and you can see a 360 point of view. You're always going to follow the programming until you have a direct experience. That direct experience may change the programming, but someone else coming in and putting a programming over the top of the other programming generally won't work because there's fear
Yeah.
in the old programming. And if you're trying to come in and say, well, don't be afraid, this is not accurate information, that will never take precedence over the fear until they're
Yeah. The
intuitively
experience
right. Go ahead.
the experience is completely what changes everything in your life, because with my own journey, that's what changed me. We can't look forward without having an experience to say, to change the way we think. And without that experience, it's you can't even change how you think, because of our mind only looks backwards. and we want to relate it to everything that we've gone through in the past, and then in comes the ego saying, nope, you can't believe that. But once you have a different experience, it totally changes the way you think and see things.
Well, and the crazy part about experience is you get to choose it. I mean, even if it's an illness
Yes.
or, any kind of experience that you have here on earth is by your choice.
Yep.
Now that is a really hard pill to swallow for many people because it's, we don't have the confidence in ourselves that says, well, I'm going to put myself in this position because I want that experience. Or,
Yeah.
especially if it's a negative or a bad experience, like we don't want to claim those things. We want to blame shame in somebody else, right? It's always somebody else's fault because we don't
Yeah.
want to actually look at ourselves and say, oh man, I chose that. Why would I choose that? Well, why wouldn't we choose that? This is about duality, positives and negatives, yin and yang, good and bad experiences and everything in between that. So why wouldn't we choose those kinds of things? The point is,
Yeah.
I feel
And
like we
people do look.
I feel like we need to be really
Go ahead.
conscious about what we are choosing, how powerful we are
I
as a being to make a choice, positive or negative, doesn't really matter. It's just an experience.
Yes. I can definitely relate to that. I look at my past and who I was before and the things that I brought into my life and the things that had happened, and we look at bad experiences like, oh, we all want to feel sorry for ourselves and we all play the victim when bad things happen to us. But after you come out of that and you look back at your past, you do kind of want to be like, why did I go through that? I wish I didn't have to deal with that. But the but to it is the good experiences and the bad actually form you into who you are today. So I used to beat myself up about like the bad experiences I had in my life and like why I allowed this and why I allowed that. But when I look at it today, and without any of that, I would never be able to be who I am today without having gone through all of that stuff, because it definitely made me stronger and more powerful and understand myself and who I am as my own individual person. Where if I would have never had that, I would probably not know that today.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole purpose of, soul having an experience in a human form is how can I, like the soul, like you have to look at the soul as a mad scientist. That's how I see the soul. It's like, what, if this happens, how will I experience it? Like, how will my emotions be? How will my thoughts be? And we can have the exact same experience and have a totally different outcome. Again, that's the
Yeah,
beauty of this earth and this experience.
so awesome. When you actually can look back and see the belief systems that you have like that you have transformed over a period of time, and you can never see it when you're in it. It's always when you look back and you're like, wow. And you look at the things and the belief systems and everything you have literally transformed to become who your soul wants you to be, like who you are, like your real soul self. It's so amazing, and it's a feeling that you can't even explain. I almost can't even put words to like how it actually makes me feel, because the that old person versus this, it's just life's so amazing when you actually figure it out and you decide, no, you know what? I'm not carrying other people's belief systems forward with me. This is what I believe. This is who I am. And it's fine. And it's okay that I believe something different than you. It's my experience and my life. And I think getting past, people need approval too from, outside themselves for their belief systems. I feel like sometimes we believe things just because, like the other people do. And once you like are set in your ways and you're like, no, you know what? I don't have to believe what other people believe. Life literally is just like amazing because we're doing what we in our hearts and our minds, our soul, like this is what we believe, and there's no question. You don't feel bad for things. You just, everything, you feel amazing every single day on every level.
Yeah. Yeah. So to sort of like look at belief systems is the first thing you have to ask yourself is what is it that I want to believe in? Not what is it that I have to believe in? What do I want to believe in? Right. And then as
Yes.
you experience life, those belief systems can change and you can upgrade them. The point is to upgrade them because when you don't upgrade your belief systems, you stay stuck. And that's when you become
Yes.
really out of alignment with who you came here to be, fulfilling that mission and purpose. And like that creates many problems. That's what creates suffering in our lives. So, real simple.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what is it that you want to believe in? Does it fit and support who you want to become in the future? And if not, you need to change them. And second thing is literally just to constantly be updating them. Like it's a constant change and we don't like to change as humans, but you really need to be constantly asking yourself, do I believe in this today or don't I believe in this today? Especially when it comes up in your life and you're like, oh, I need to take a look at that.
Yes. Upgrade them every day. Every day. It's the
Mm-hmm.
only way to live.
Exactly. All right. We thank you all for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate everybody that listens to our podcast. If you have a topic you would like to discuss, please feel free to reach out to us. You can email me at ambermeg2@icloud.com. We would love to hear any questions or subjects you would like us to discuss. Until next time, from our souls to yours, have a super fantastic day.